I'm fine. And how are you? No, no,
How I
no, no, no.
am.
That's not how people talk. I'm fine, thank you. And how are you today?
Hallelujah. So yeah, yo. Cheers.
Cheers. Are you drinking water?
hmm Vodka Red Bull. Oh, can I say that?
Ooh,
we're
ooh.
gonna be can we're gonna be canceled. Um, we're just it looks like you're playing computer games. You like
No, no,
this?
no, no. I was actually curious how it's gonna look like on a computer.
Uh-huh.
So I just put it on just to see how it look. It looks actually really legit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Show me some. К нам кто-то подключился, видела? Тут же
That's
отключился.
me. That's me
Oh
on my
shit!
computer. Oh my
Is
god.
it? Should we
Well,
start over?
anyway. Mhm.
So today we want to speak about mental health, about immigration, how it affects you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think both of us have been. We actually have been talking about it for years at this point, right?
Yeah.
Because we've both been um, affected by mental health struggles, I guess, that kind of came out of our move to America. So, and what was it? We spent what, hours and years and months talking about it on the phone.
Yep.
So why not take it to YouTube?
Exactly. The best promo.
Hmm. Absolutely.
It looks like you have an alcoholic drink there.
Oh, it's not. I'm very sober. This is
I know, but it does like the
no,
eyes
but you
look
know
like.
this. But people who are watching us, well, who will be watching us, because right now we have zero, zero people watching. No, I'm dead sober.
Perfect.
So yeah. Um. So how about we go ahead and you tell your story? So how come did you become? How come you became an immigrant? Like,
So my story goes back when I was 18, and I pretty much purchased my first car by cash. I was working in a bank, and I caught a thought that, so what's next? I'm going to get an apartment here, and I'm gonna live my whole life here. That sounds hella boring, like live in the same country, live in the same environment. So I started looking for opportunities. How can I move out and learn and be able to work money abroad? And then I found online course. I find my own job, and I moved to Bali, and then after Bali, I was in Bali for a year. Then after Bali, I moved to South Korea
mm-hmm.
for 7 months. That's where I met you. And then after South Korea was Vietnam for 1 year. So I've been to many places pretty much. I've been traveling a lot. After Vietnam, I spent a year there and I moved to China, and now I'm in America, and it's been 5 years in America. So I feel like that was a jump from cliff when I left my home country, and I learned a skill that allows me to move to any country in the world in a short amount of time to feel, in a short amount of time, I have this skill that I can feel home, sense of home. I feel comfortable. I feel convenient, and that skill allow me to do a lot of things that a lot of people pretty much scared to do. They're scared to do
Mm-hmm.
that because they're like, there's a lot of fear. Like, hey, how can I move to another country? It's a new language. It's new environment. I'm
Oh,
afraid.
absolutely.
So, because I have been moving so much, at some point it became Yeah, I pretty much gained the skill that I'm fearless. I can feel home, sense of home anywhere in the world in a very short amount of time. I think it take me like 2, 3, 4 days, and I feel like okay, I'm fine here. My routine is set up and everything is good. So that's my story. That's how I started. So pretty much out of boardroom, I'm kind of person that I'm always seeking new things, new feelings, new adventures, new people, new languages, and I get bored pretty easily. If I see that this activity is not giving me more excitement, I pretty much get bored. That's my short story. And what is yours?
Well, I think it makes sense to say where we from, right? Just so because just so it makes sense for the as far
Hmm.
as context goes. We're actually from the same hometown. We're from
Yeah.
far eastern town in Russia,
Hmm.
and so my story is I moved abroad when I was 18 years old. Now I'm 34. I'm going to be 34 in May,
Jesus
and
Christ, people live that long?
they do. They really do.
You're a dinosaur. I'm just kidding.
I do feel like one, you know. But so I was 18 when I moved outside of my hometown, and well, I started traveling abroad when I was a kid. My parents took me outside Russia to South Korea when I was 7, and I like just instantly fell in love with the country. And I knew that I will, I never felt like I was fitting in Russia for lounger list of reasons, and I ended up going into a linguistics degree when I was 17 to study Korean language because in my mind that was like the only way to leave, to learn another language. And then by the time I was 18, I got scholarship and I bounced to South Korea, and I spent 11 years there. And now I'm living in the U.S. same amount of time as you are. It's been 5 years. My the primary reason why I ended up moving to the US wasn't anything that was planned or anything that I ever thought I would do. I always saw myself as someone who would settle down somewhere in Asia. I absolutely love that region. I love the culture. And then I met
Hmm.
my husband, and things changed. Everything changed absolutely. And when I was 29, I ended up moving to the US. And I think it also, before we continue with our discussion about mental health, um, I moved to the US when I was 29. You were 24.
18.
No, but the reason I'm bringing up age is because I've recently been talking to a lot of immigrants, and I'm noticing a pattern
Hmm.
among people that people who move abroad at earlier age, they tend to adjust and adapt to a new country faster than people who do it closer to 30s, to 30 or in their mid 30s or something like this. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the older you are, the more you want to be settled, in your environment. And moves abroad when you know that you're gonna, move your entire life to another country, it becomes this like catalytic change and takes you out of your comfort zone. And what happened in my case, my husband is in the military, so we were just within this 5 years, I've been moving way too many times, so we finally settled in the present location and we're going to be here for 4 years. So it's been a recent development when I felt like I'm like settled down and I'm in comfort. And because I've been when I was in my early 20s, I was kind of like you. I was seeking that, travel and adventure, and I felt like I was adjusting to things really easily. And I adjusted to Korea like that, like it was easy, no problem. America
안녕하세요.
America was a completely different story. It was way harder, even though America, culturally speaking, is closer to Russia than South Korea would be. So, yeah, that's
Hi.
my short story. Hi.
Okay, good. So, what would you say that, moving here, pretty much moving here required you to do a lot of things that, help you to stay stable, help you to overcome, the anxiety that you have. Um, like pretty much it's a lot because you're in a new environment, new language, new culture. But since you have previous experience with Korea, you already kind of have that skill when you've been in another country 11 years learning language. So you already more prepared than the others. In the same case, at the same time, like I'm also more prepared because I moved to Bali, I moved to Vietnam, I moved to South Korea, I moved to China, and I've been living in those countries. So I was also kind of more prepared because those countries I have not been able to connect with locals. I have not learned a language that deep like I know English, because in English I'm fluent, but in Korean, Vietnamese, obviously I'm not. I knew only basics. I knew only daily language like hello, hi, how are you, how much, and but it still didn't make me um like kind of I I I was fearless and I still moved because I was so much of the mindset of seeking something new, and in your case, you have that experience with Korea and you move to the US, you still have a lot of struggles because it's a completely different lifestyle, completely different life, the culture, food, and everything, right? So if we go to the mental health a part of it, what help you in few words, what help you most of it? I know that you mentioned that meditation help you to to
It
get
wasn't
slow.
it wasn't one thing that helped me.
It
It
was
was
multiple things, of course.
it was combination. Well, it was a multi-layered process of multiple things that kind of helped. I was in therapy for a year and a half because when we my first like well my first location in America was Kansas, but we ended up moving to rural to countryside of central Pennsylvania, so basically in the middle of nowhere. And I was living in a town that had like 1,000 people, and that was after living in Seoul, city of 25 million people. So I was
1001 with you.
oh yeah, like I was losing my mind. Like I mean, I had nobody to talk to, so I had like at some point I was like catching myself thinking like I have no connections. I have no support system. I don't have anybody I can talk to. So I was like, I might as well talk to a tree, because there's no one to talk.
I
And
might I might just hug a tree.
I know, right? So I ended up. I went to the therapy. I was about a year and a half, and then after therapy, it was just a magnitude of things. It was a lot of it was meditation. It was trying to find myself. Like, what am I supposed to do here? Like, because I don't deal well with um changes that occur out of nowhere. And that was kind of the move to America. That's what it was. It was never, like I said, it was never a dream. I never planned it. I moved here in the name of love.
You also drop your were studying in South Korea, so you dropped, right?
Oh yeah, I was on the way to be a professor, so I ended up dropping out of my program because, well, it was a couple things overlapped. COVID, the whole world went in shutdown mode in
Mm-hmm.
2020. That affected my process of graduating. I was also waiting for my documents. I applied for a green card because I came here on a fiance visa. So, all of that took a while. So I just made a decision. And by then I already figured out there's like, I don't feel like becoming a professor is something that I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a massive change. Like that was like a gut punch change because it's something that you spent years to become and it's no longer the case. But yeah, it was meditation was a part of it. Absolutely. Um, Therapy was a huge thing. Honestly, I don't know if I would be able
Mm-hmm.
to go through this process without therapy. I don't think I would be able to. I mean, I would, but I would be extremely depressed,
Yeah,
still.
so you said you were facing a lot of loneliness. Would you say loneliness in general because there was no people around, or loneliness as we talk about, like, you know, your kind of people who are on the same level, people who understands you, people who have like same values and same principles on life. and or would you say is just completely loneliness because there was nobody around, or both?
Well, it's I would say I'm still experiencing loneliness, because
Yeah.
because of loneliness, I ended up starting a happy immigrant blog, where I talk about stuff that I went through. Because the thing is, it wasn't just about not having people who are like on my level. It's not even that. It's more so to talk to someone who've experienced something that I have. Simply speaking, like not even living outside the country you were born into, but more so at least like moving to another town, or city or something like this. Because
Hmm.
when you talk to people who spend their entire life in the same state or in the same town, even if, and I was blessed to meet people who were very kind, very generous, they helped me out so much, but they still are not capable of understanding, the loneliness aspect of it all. Because it's a really weird internal loneliness feeling, because you know how it is, like you can be surrounded by a lot of people and still feeling complete and
Yeah,
lonely. It's that kind of thing.
that's how I feel now too.
Yeah, that's how I felt for, and I sometimes feel like this too. I'm grateful for the blog that I started, because I was able to connect with a lot of people who are in my situation. Like I was able to connect with immigrant women who are also married to military men, and it's a very niche group, and it's hard to find these type
Hmm.
of women. It's extremely hard because it's its own kind of hardship too. Uh, but yeah, so it's a pretty lonely experience, I would say, definitely.
Yeah,
It's a
that's how I.
beautiful experience, but it's a
Mhm.
lonely one.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I feel like that I know a lot of people, but there's barely anyone I can talk to who understands my view on life, my values, where I'm going to, what I'm doing in my life, why I'm doing that, what is my goal, what like it's just so much because like I found myself in a very interesting place that I would say normal things, normal activities, they don't entertain me anymore. It's not
Mhm.
fulfilling for me, and I feel lonely because simply when you got invited somewhere where you got invited by some people and you understand that you are completely on a different level of life, and I'm saying on a different level, not more so of I'm higher or lower, it's just different. Your wants, your needs, your desires
Your
completely
struggles are
opposite.
different.
Your struggles, your
Your challenges
meanings,
are different. Yeah.
your challenges, and you go to these dinners and you're like, well, we have nothing to talk about, and simply faking it is just it's kind of very lonely, and the part of it doing social media, it helps a lot because like you said, your blog, my blog, it helps us to find those people who are in the same on the same level, who are understand what we speak about and what we try to highlight, and that it makes easier and this life also for people who are trying to seek something different, people who are always constantly want to improve their life, and not just improve their life but also be in a kind of do a good service for people, helping people, uplift people, pollinate other people who also seeking growth, and I feel like that's a big part of our lives where we gain some knowledge, we gain some skills, we struggle with an anxiety or we struggle with other things. And once we learn how to do it, once we learn how to pass that moment, I feel like it's a very important part to share about it, to share how you overcome this, to share what tools you gain, and sharing this experience, it's very important.
It's interesting because I think that a lot of people I talk to really struggle with chronic anxiety. And I think a lot of it has to do with when you come from a country like where we from, or other countries, where you, in order for you to go somewhere, you constantly need to deal with paperwork, with visas, everything. Like I spent 11 years being a student in South Korea, so every year was paperwork. So that thing hunts you. So it's um it's a really weird feeling not to have it, not to have an anxiety. And like I cannot wait to get citizenship, because it's going to be a brand new experience for me to not think about, oh my god, I have to be on top of my paperwork, you know and like I remember, even like with my husband, we went through a phase where, when I was resubmitting for my 10-year green card, it was a box of documents because I had to prove that my marriage was bona fide, and you have to submit as much proof as you can because your life depends on it. And I remember he had struggles with understanding why I was so stressed about it. And it took me the longest time to explain to him that the reason the anxiety is present is because I spent years in that phase. Because you are kind of in a limbo, because it's some other person who decides whether you're fit, whether your relationship are legitimate or not. It's not you. You have to prove it. And everyone who I talk to, they constantly deal with that. And it's really hard to find peace when you're in a state of anxiety, because you know that even once you get your permanent residency, you have to be, like you have to be on top of the things, like legally speaking, like you have to make sure that everything you do is absolutely legal. Like there is no room for a mistake, because even though, you get your 10-year green card, but a little mistake can cause a lot of damage in our case, because we're not citizens. So it does contribute to anxiety, and it's really, combined with loneliness and everything.
Mhm.
It's like an interesting mentally, it's an interesting mental space, to be in when you deal with all of that.
Well, it's great that, this mental space that we talk about, it can be changed, that then we can literally reprogram ourselves for success, for our goals. And it's good that what I help people with, I help them to reprogram their reality, to reprogram their subconscious
I
mind.
don't
And
think I don't think we really have a choice to not really be successful, because the thing is, um no matter if you come from like an individualistic society or not, you still have people behind you. You have your family, you have your parents, you have everything. So, with I think that's also one of the reasons why a lot of immigrants, when they come to America, they're so grateful to be here, and they end up succeeding. Like they open businesses. Well, a lot of them
yeah,
ended up
because that
opening,
gratitude.
yeah, and a lot of them ended up opening businesses because it's hard to get a really good job, without a degree in America. Like, you can get a good job without a degree in America, but it's good if you go to like an American trade school or get a bachelor's or something like this, if you want to go to like corporate, into any corporate industry. So it's it's an interesting position to be in. It has a lot of struggles and a lot of challenges, but also it pushes you to be the better version of yourself, because there is nothing behind. I mean, behind you is your family that you need to take care of, and also your life, because you start over. And I know, like in my head, I can't settle for anything less, because I have my parents, I have my grandparents, I need to be capable of helping them if something happens. And that is the case for a lot of immigrants. And it's challenging, but also it's a really good, it's a very motivational position to be in. But
Mhm.
obviously the negative part of it all is anxiety that comes with it.
Yeah, I feel like it's very important as immigrants when we come here, what are we watching? What kind of content we watching? What
Oh
kind
yeah.
of people are around us? Because, if you move into a country and you surround yourself with people who are constantly negative, who are constantly saying how everything is bad, how everything is not good. You made this choice to come here, and you have to realize that, hey, I'm here and I have to find pluses and I have to find what makes me happy and have that gratitude, because a lot of people actually dream to move to America, but they don't have even the opportunity to even apply for visa because they don't have enough money, or they don't have US embassy over there, or they're simply blacklisted as a citizen of country that cannot apply. As a,
Yeah, yeah,
I know, as I remember, I think Chinese people cannot apply for a lottery for a green card. They're
yeah,
banned,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and so of course there's other ways for them to get on board, but you have to have that power in you and belief and strong belief system that hey, I'm the one who can do it, because in a lot of platforms and a lot of resources we can find information that is really hard, it's almost impossible, and your friends tell you hey, it's impossible to even get there, don't even try, don't waste your time and money. It was my case when I was applying for US visa. I have multiple friends who proved me that, oh, don't even try. I tried 10 times. It was always rejected, and I did it out of um, pretty much out of respect for you, because I was coming to your wedding and I wanted to show up that, I'm doing it because for you, but I was sure that I'm going to be rejected at that time. And I got
Mhm.
surprised when I was like, oh, wow, I'm approved. That's interesting. So, yeah, with this being said, mental health, it's very like it's very complicated topic because it involves a lot of things in it, and your circle, what are you watching. We live now in a world where we have so many different platforms, and people watch TikTok, people watch all kind of different formats of content, they go on Instagram,
Short form
and
content, yeah.
short form content, like especially TikTok, it affects your concentration, because when you watching short form of content, 5 seconds of somebody screaming, then next video somebody is laughing. First of all, what's happening? Your brain watching that video, your brain analyze what's happening on the picture, and our brain cannot understand is it reality or not. We constantly make hormones. So if somebody is scaring you from the screen, you're like, oh, whoa, your hormones, your adrenaline raises, and you definitely feel it through your body. And then you get attached to it, because it's like it's a constantly dopamine kind of relationship when your body makes happy hormones or stress hormones, and then you pretty much get attached to it. And then you see a lot of people, you're going maybe like around the building, or you're going around restaurant, you see people have a break, and they just, you hear that, they're watching something, and boom, 5 seconds later there's another sound, somebody's singing, and then somebody is screaming. So, and then what happens is you talk to this person and you can see they fly away. They
Hmm.
listening to you, and then boom, they fly away. And then they listening to you, boom, they fly away. And then you talk to them, and then they're asking you, hey, what did you say? Sorry, I lost you. So, and I heard that US is about ban TikTok. I'm not sure how truth is that
Yeah, I read it. I
information.
read something about it
Yeah,
before. Um,
but we definitely see how it affects younger society and older society, because when you apply the content, and your content can be really interesting, it can be really unique, and provides a lot of information, useful information, but the average time, you can see the average watching time, and you can say it's 10 seconds, because people cannot keep up. He's like, well, this is not giving me love and emotion. This is not giving me something they don't want to watch it. They scroll back because they cannot tune in. The concentration level is so low. And I feel like it's a big, big problem. And I always, always, always say people stop using TikTok, because it's destroying your brain. You cannot concentrate. It's pretty much you train your brain to concentrate on the short format, which is 10, 15 seconds, 10, 5 seconds, even lower than that sometimes.
well, yeah, and then
So,
what's interesting is that that part actually backfires on every aspect of your life because, for example, when people embark on mental health journey, when they want
mhm,
to improve something about themselves, they want to treat their depression or anything like that, and if you want to do it through therapy, meditation, or whatever you choose, whatever route you choose, there is no shortcut to it. And it requires a lot of work, a lot of concentration, a lot of effort and a lot of time. And unfortunately, I've talked to a lot of people who are kind of in the same boat that I was 4 years ago, and mental health wise. And I know of people who, absolutely aware of the issues that they have. They understand root cause problems, but they cannot solve it, even though they know about them. But they cannot solve their issues because they don't have enough concentration to sit in the chair and dedicate an hour, to treat themselves with a therapist, or I don't know, watching a video by a psychologist or something like this, or doing techniques, that they find that are supposed to be helpful. And that is unfortunate because it does require, like, I feel like our quality of life and our quality of mental health goes up when your concentration is up, when you're
Yeah.
capable of, I don't know, sitting down and reading a book, um or I don't know, going through an exercise, or going through therapy session. Because when you are
It's
doing
pretty
therapy,
much going. It's pretty much equals going deep instead
yeah.
of, because if you concentrate 5 seconds and you talking with someone for an hour, what happens? You glue this short information that you got. You glue it together, and you're trying to have that full statement, but it's all the glue. It's all like Mickey Mouse. You don't understand what's actually happening because you cannot
Mhm.
concentrate,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
and
And
this
it's
transfers to the life, yeah, to
yeah,
the whole life.
and it's really it's sad that it's something that's going on. Because I remember, I think I think the thing is that people in general want to solve their problems or achieve success, whatever it might be, by putting minimum effort and spending the shortest amount of time.
Hmm.
Now, with everything that we're dealing is with right now, is like short-term content coming out of everywhere, essentially. The your attention span becomes so short, like you said, and it's really hard to dedicate time to solve your issues. Because it's a really difficult thing to do, to dedicate yourself and your time to improve quality of your life. It takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of time, takes a lot of work. And a lot of people, at least the ones that I know, like, I'm not saying that everyone is like this, but I know a lot of people who are not willing to put in that time. And it sucks, because a lot of issues could have been avoided. Because when people think about working on themselves, let's say it will take you 3 years, for example. 3 years is not a long time, right? I mean, it passes like this, but people perceive it as very long. They don't have enough concentration there, and they don't have will to put, into the process of bettering themselves.
Plus
And it's
energy. You have to have not only concentration, you have to have energy. You have to have enough energy to process through it, and you have to have enough energy to even willing to step and do the work, because
right.
you know like we live in a society where people working the whole day, they are going to the job that they hate, and then they have 2 3 hours for themselves, and they choose to tune in into Instagram or TikTok
Yeah,
to watch that short format content. And then by seeing this, by watching this, sorry, like the content, the short format, you drawing your energy away, because you watching somebody, as I said, 5 seconds somebody screaming, then 2 seconds somebody dancing, your body makes hormones, and then you're like, well, I don't want to do anything, let me eat and let me just chill out.
absolutely. I absolutely agree with you. And it's interesting because um it's well, I've been talking to a lot of people about loneliness recently on my blog. And a lot of people were asking me, like, how do you deal with that? And I don't know what to tell you, but it is a day-to-day process. So, because loneliness is that type of emotion, right, that makes you ultimately sad. You want to cry, but life happens, right? You still need to go to work. You still need to pay your bills. If you're an immigrant in another country, oh my God, you have to take care of so many things, right? Because you don't have support system here. And I always tell to people, is like, I'm sorry, but there is no other way but to really push yourself and stay in the present and be grateful, practice gratitude, meditate. It's as if you are repeating mantra to yourself every day that I'm good, I'm going to get through it. I'm grateful for whatever happened in my life. But
And that's
it-
becomes your support system.
yeah,
You
and you build,
programming your mind for success. You
yeah,
repeat an affirmation that I'm successful and I'm grateful. You tuning in with the gratitude energy. That's the most easiest way to tune in that high frequency where you actually not faking it. I mean, you can fake it until you make it, but when you're actually grateful to be here, when you're actually grateful for safe sky, for the food that you have, for the
exactly.
opportunities that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, I remember years ago, I started doing meditations probably when I was 23 or so. And it was like my first experience with therapy, and my first therapist ever. She told me that it's going to help you. And I remember I've been doing it for a year or two or so, and then I had a relative who was also in Korea at that time, and he was going through a lot of issues in his life. And he went through a horrible breakup. He was, very depressed, down, just devastated. And I remember I used to tell him that, dude, you really, really, really have to, if you don't want to, he didn't want to go into therapy. And he's like, well, if you don't want to go into therapy, then you have to practice meditations, and it takes time. And I remember, I think after a week, he came back to me and he said, "It's BS. It doesn't help." And I'm like, "But you just spent the week doing it. It's not a magic fix. Nothing is a magic fix. Even if you, let's say, people don't want to go into therapy because they're scared that they're going to be stuck in it for 10 years. That's not true. It's a certain type of person that will be stuck in it for 10 years. If you have a goal, if you're capable of, if you know what your goal is and you can set it for you, you can go through it much
Set
faster
it
than
for you and for your therapist because
yes, for yourself and for your therapist. You need to communicate it,
yeah,
because when I came into therapy here in the US, I told my therapist, I don't feel like I need antidepressants. I don't want any shortcuts. I have a year and a half, and that's the goal, and I'm going to put everything I have into getting better. So guide me, please, or let's work on it. So yeah, but it's funny because when it comes to mental health, it's such a long process, and there is no shortcuts. You have to be capable of being able to concentrate on it, you know just like you were able of concentrating on building a career for a corporation. In a corporation or in a business that you work for, you might as well, you can be capable of building your life and working on your mental health too. It's not it's not that it's hard, but it does take time. Absolutely. So yeah, it's an interesting journey.
yeah. I feel like it's so important to not only like be aware of what's going on and what kind of stuff you put yourself in because we essentially we like in a charge of our life and we pretty much can change any part any aspect of our lives, but a lot of times we don't have enough resources, a lot of times we don't understand how, and we have like a dent end and we're like what do we do, and um, saying that doing meditation and going to therapy might be difficult too. Like for I went to therapy and I went to different therapists and I experienced they just they just hear you out. That's it. And I have few cases where I've been a therapist to my therapist. When I talk to therapists and I'm like, oh well, my therapist need a therapist because he doesn't know what he does. He got education, he went to therapy, he's licensed, but he's just like talking and that's it. He's not giving me tools, he's not giving me any suggestions. It becomes to the point where, oh, we have 1 minute left. Oh, well, see you next time. And every session, well, we have 30 seconds left. See you next time.
I think
No depths, nothing improving. And I'm like, well, I can write down what I feel, you know. I can write down and it will be the same way because it just felt like that. I feel like finding a right therapist is very important too. The therapist who you verbalize that you want to improve, you want to change, what's your goal, and who is able to provide you that map that lead you to your goal, not just listening to you. Because I found a lot of therapists, yes, they're licensed, but their knowledge, their understanding, the way of how they think, it's not helping, you know. It's just going same circle over and over and over. Like I remember your story, you have completely different story, and you had like a very experienced therapist that been,
I was blessed. Like I
yeah,
like
you was blessed, but
Yeah,
not everyone
I was
blessed like
blessed
that,
with
you
my
know.
therapist, that's for sure. I think I think as far as therapy goes, right? I mean, it's business, right? Still, in the end
Hmm.
of the day, and there, people look at therapy in different ways. Some people see it as a lifelong process. Um, I mean, now we have platforms like BetterHelp, for example, that provide you with affordable therapy sessions, and a lot of people are, using it every day for very long periods of time. My therapist, for instance, when I came to her and told her that this is my goal, these are the I know certain issues that I have. I know for sure I don't know all of them, but I have only that amount of time. And I need to solve it. And also I need to know the tools, how to deal with anxiety, what to do
And
about
I
it.
also remember you told her like, I need to know the truth, tell me the truth about
Well,
me.
that was another thing because when I came to her, and in the beginning, when we started working, she was extremely politically correct with me and she was worried about hurting my feelings. And I think it might be also like a cultural difference a little bit because I know that in America, people are very soft spoken, you know, but I wanted the raw opinion. I just wanted her to be straightforward. And I was like, I don't care if you want to call me out, call me out. Like it's fine because I only have that much time. And she did. But like I said, I was blessed. She wasn't in it for money. She was in it to help people.
You
And
see, you.
yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I have the same case where my therapist called me out, but the way he called me out, it was so unprofessional. He literally called me words, and I was like, "What? I came here to get help from you. I'm being vulnerable towards you. I'm here to get assistance, and you calling me that words
Do you
without
mind
any."
sharing what words he used or
Oh, you see, that's the funny part because I don't remember what was that, but it was saying something. The it was just saying like something like you pretty much rejecting what I said, and you just like, you know, you like, I don't even remember what was that because it was so long time ago. But I texted him and I said it was very inappropriate. I even shared it with you, and I shared it with other people, and he reached out to me and he apologized and he said that was really unprofessional. And he thought that he called me out, but it didn't look like that because there was no reason behind it. Not, it didn't make sense what he said, you know? And that was like for me a red flag. I was like, yeah, this is not therapist. Like how I even
Mm.
working with him, you know? And I feel like that's a lot. A lot of people face, you know, they go to therapy and they don't change their life because they believe that therapist is good, he's licensed, but he's not doing anything. I'm not saying don't go to therapy. I'm not saying that everyone is like
I
that, but
think
I'm
what you're
saying be
saying is be
aware.
cautious. Yeah, be
Be
cautious.
cautious and be aware because if you're going to same therapist a year, 2 years, time pass by so quick and you just see no change. I mean, of course, the main part of it is for you to do the work. But the therapist is supposed to guide you. He's supposed to guide you and help you in this journey. That's why you're paying this money or your insurance pays your money, you know? And also, like we mentioned earlier, um, pay attention, be cautious. What are you watching? What kind of content? Is it constantly somebody like hit someone and they're laughing, or somebody just prank someone? It's ha ha ha, hoo hoo hoo. Or is it the content that uplifts you? Is it a content that brings you meaningful aspects of life, that helps you to understand different situations and different areas? Is it educating you? It
Is
does
it
it like,
educational? Yeah,
yeah,
I
is
would
it
say
education?
because
Does it give you, different perspective on certain things? uh, Motivates you to learn, like what kind of content? That's what's going to make dramatic change in your life. People who surrounded you, your circle, who are accepting, uplifting, understanding. And what are you watching? What are you focusing on? What's your goals? What kind of content? That's what is important, I feel
I would
like.
say be cautious with the music that you listen to.
Oh yes, if you
No, because
listening.
it's so funny, right? Because it's like when you sing to a song, it's almost, I mean, if you sing it long enough, it kind of, it's like
It's
your mantra
affirmation.
type of thing.
It's an anthem.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like it can become an affirmation. I would say definitely be cautious about the songs you listen to because Jesus Christ, when you look into stuff that is out there now, and the funny part is like I look at a lot of things, like at a lot of
Mhm.
songs as art. And there is time and a place for everything, I feel like, but I don't know. There's not a lot of meaning these days,
Shake your booty, money, money, money,
Yeah,
cash, cash,
pretty
cash,
much
cash,
that.
cash, 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 money, money, booty, booty. There's nothing wrong with that. It does serve the purpose. It's entertaining, but when you know the whole lyrics, we know how brain works. Everything that you're thinking about, it has a
Yeah.
frequency. It creates the energy, and then it goes to your subconscious mind, so you program yourself.
Oh yeah.
Definitely be
Absolutely.
cautious what you're watching and you listen to, because it's affecting your reality 100%.
Oh, it really, really does. It really does. It's funny because I remember when I just came to the US. So as far as music goes, I listen to all kinds of music. And but the place where we lived like first a few years, so Kansas and central Pennsylvania, it's country is big there, and I was never like a country song singer
They
up
say
until
Texas.
uh, well, that depends who you ask because a lot of people I'm actually glad that Beyonce put out that album. Like it's interesting that she's experimenting with, but I'm talking about like different country music, like Nashville style, like Tennessee style country. I love that one. But what I've noticed that because I was, involuntarily exposed to a lot of country when we would go to like barbecue parties or dinner parties, and all
Hmm.
people listened to, at least people who we knew in central Pennsylvania, was a lot of country. But it was cool because it's like a storytelling. The song itself is storytelling, and it's really interesting to listen to it because you listen to a lot of it is like people are singing about life in like a countryside of America. I do feel, I mean, not every country song has a lot of culture in it, but it's pretty interesting. It's like it's a completely different style of um creating art, I guess. So it's a
Yeah,
lot of storytelling.
communicating with your audience, right?
Yeah, 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 pretty much. So it's definitely different. I know it's not for everybody, but it's as a genre, it's a very interesting one for sure. It's a very cool one when you break it
Yep.
down into storytellings and stuff like that. But yeah, like all of these things matter. It's interesting, right? Like the older you get, the more you understand how multi-layered life is. How many aspects actually will influence you and
Yeah. And
create
program
changes in you
you. Pretty much program you, yeah.
and program you. Yeah, for sure.
It's been 48 minutes. I feel like that's a really, really, really good. The time passed by like that. We talk about like a lot of things. Would do you want to mention anything else, or you want to go through everything we spoke about? Because I want to make sure that I can save this life, since it's been almost an hour.
I guess the thing that I would mention that I want to mention at the end
Hmm.
of the day is
Follow me, right? Follow,
no,
subscribe,
it's not
like.
even that. It's not
I
even
was
that.
kidding.
A lot of it is um especially now with everything that's going on, make sure you have an activity in life that gives you a peace of mind. And for a lot of people, these type of activities are hobbies, right? Doing something with your hands or maybe like, I don't know, fishing, something like that. And I know
Where
it's fun.
you're in your zone, in your aura, by
Yeah,
yourself.
and I know it sounds really like simple, right? But in the long run, it makes every difference in your life because if it gives you concentration, which we just talked about, right? Which is crucial for you
It
to
calms you
freaking,
down
it calms you
also.
down. You get to do something you truly love and enjoy. Like when I met my husband has a lot of hobbies and he
Hmm.
loves them. And I'm from Russia. We don't have hobby. I did not grow up with a hobby, you know. And I remember when I came here, I didn't understand. I was like,
Besides looking pretty,
nails, lashes, everything. Yeah,
nails done, hair done, everything. Are you fancy, huh? Not to be
yeah, pretty
promoting stuff.
pretty much. Yeah, and girl, you're fancy.
Hmm.
And But it's so important. So whatever it is, like if you want to, I don't know, just have something that will give you that concentration, that will make you be able to focus on something, because it's important. Because then later on when you will decide to, I don't know, let's say you struggle with mental health and you want to jump into it and work on it, it will help you later on. You need to have something. Life is so hectic. If you're an immigrant, it's even more hectic. So
But
you
you
need
can
to.
change it. It doesn't have to be hectic. You can set the goal, set the plan, and go that
Yeah, but what I'm
direction.
saying is that no matter what you do, we also have to be mindful of the fact that life also happens, right?
Hmm.
For
Exactly.
example, if let's say you are going through an immigration process and then administration changes, that will affect you. That is absolutely outside of your control. So things like this, they make it more hectic. That's what I'm trying to say.
Especially as immigrants, yeah, when you're waiting for your documents and you're not sure you're gonna get them or you don't know
Yeah,
or you're
because it
not gonna
depends.
get them. How
It de-
long? 1 year, 10 years, 20 years?
because a lot of it depends on people who are in DC.
Hmm.
So that's why I'm saying that life will always happen, changes will always happen, hectic life might happen to you, whether, because certain things
Hmm.
we can't control. So you need to have that outlet in your life that will give you peace.
And
you know
tools, right? As well,
yeah,
tools that help you to, that help you to go through it, and
yeah,
cope with your anxiety and cope with your,
yeah, absolutely.
struggles.
And all of to cope with all of that requires a lot of concentration and a lot of work and a lot of efforts.
Hmm.
So you need to have an outlet in your life that will give you peace. You absolutely have to.
Do you think on that note we should finish this beautiful life?
We should, because it's almost 10 p.m. where I'm at,
It's
and I know
9
you're
here.
1 hour behind. So
Yeah. All
yeah.
right. Well, it was very nice. Thank you for tuning in. It was very nice talking to you, and I'm looking forward to do more lives and more content.
Yes.
Now I have to figure out how to say it.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I'm like share, copy link. Uh, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Top chat, live chat. I guess I will click the.
Yeah, and see what happens.
Hopefully, it will
Okay. Bye.
end stream. Yes. All right. Bye.